Hello and welcome to The Real Hernando, presented to you by Wesley Meadows Retirement Community and produced by SRP Studios Podcasting. This podcast spotlights Hernando, Mississippi's businesses, organizations, and community leaders. You will learn about what each business or organization provides and get to know the person behind it all. You can follow us at therealhernando.com for all of our channels, social media platforms. Now, a word from our sponsor. Each day at Wesley Meadows is a new opportunity to serve older adults and reimagine retirement living. It is the heart of their mission that inspires their team to provide the kind of fun atmosphere and care residents would want for themselves. Experience the warm spirit and faith-based difference of Wesley Meadows. Call 662-429-2070 and schedule your visit today. Welcome back. I'm your host, Derek, and today we are spotlighting Tadpool Swim School. Tadpool Swim School is an indoor private swim school offering one-on-one swim lessons customized for each individual and filled with fun. Ashley's focus is the comfort, safety, and progress of every single child, and, of course, they have a great time. Ashley is a certified lifeguard, has owned and operated her own daycare, was a swim instructor at Germantown Athletic Club, and is an advocate for the heart of children. So as mentioned, today joining me is the owner, Ashley Peck. What's up, Ashley? How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Good to see you. Good to meet you, rather.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. We're here to learn more about what Tadpool is all about, what you're all about, and just spread the word and, educate this community on your fine business, because there's probably a lot that don't know about you, and we want to fix that.
Yes.
Right? So
absolutely.
So let's just start right out of the gate, giving a good overview of what Tadpool Swim School offers.
Okay. I offer customized one-on-one instruction. I have my own indoor pool in my house located in central part of Hernando. And each swimmer comes to me and I create a curriculum based on what their needs are. I have everybody from babies up to adults, and we just have a really good time.
Is it always one-on-one?
Yes.
Do you ever do groups?
I don't do groups unless they're siblings or even a parent and a child. I do those as well. I tried to do groups in August, and they were just not really popular. I think people have come accustomed to having me all to themselves. Yeah. And it works really, really well the way that I do it.
Do you think there's some vulnerability in you might be embarrassed to swim in front of another person, or even be in a bathing suit in front of someone else? Do you find that happens?
Absolutely. It's a much more private situation, obviously, than being in a busy gym environment. So that really does appeal to a lot of my fearful swimmers, especially. It's I just have a pool room with my large pool in it, and then plenty of seating for my parents to stay and enjoy watching the lessons. I get a lot of joy in getting to know my parents as well, and we have a lot of fun watching the kids, learn to swim together. Yeah.
If you did a group, I'm sure there's cannonballing and splashing.
Yes, right? yes. Not to say we don't see that sometimes. Yeah. I let my kids have a lot of fun as well. But yes, we do kind of stick to, a script. And then at the end of their time, if my kids have done a really good job listening, then I usually let them have a free, 5 minutes of play.
Splash time.
Exactly.
So how long is a lesson on average?
Each lesson is 30 minutes long. I do have people from time to time pay to have an hour lesson on Fridays when I have some flexibility there. So that's, not unusual. But typically everybody comes twice a week for 30 minutes, and I sell them my lessons in lesson blocks of 8 lessons. So that's about 4 week span of time. And generally speaking, I can get people pretty far along in those first 8 lessons.
Now, is it common that your student, regardless of age, is coming to you because they don't know how to swim? Or are there situations where they want to learn how to swim better?
I will accept people that already know how to swim and need to, tone up or work on their skills.
Okay.
So that happens all the time.
So they're in there for like the athletic upgrade, if you will.
Yes, yes. I have some kids that aspire to be on a swim team, as I was in high school, and then so I work with them. I do not consider myself a swim coach.
Okay.
I'm not going to be as good at that as maybe a coach on an actual swim team, but I can certainly get them far along on their journey of being a competitive swimmer
and give them a place to do it.
Yes.
I mean, it's just indoor pool year round.
Year round.
It gives them something to practice in at the very least.
Yes.
Right?
I am so blessed to have my indoor pool. It is just awesome to be able to offer my instruction year round.
What size pool is it?
Big. It's big.
It's a big pool.
I don't have. I meant to write down my dimensions
fine,
and know them off the top of my head, but
it's a nice size pool.
It is a nice size pool, and I frequently go to other hotels and kind of giggle that our pool is bigger than their indoor pool.
That's
cool.
So,
and my families are very spoiled. They come to me after going on a trip and going in the hotel pool, and of course it's heavily chlorinated, not as clean as mine, and I have mine salt water.
That was my next question.
Mm-hmm,
That's
and
the best.
I keep it at 91 degrees.
Whoa! That is bath water.
It is. In the wintertime, I should clarify. In the summer, I do 90. But it's
1 degree.
1 degree difference, but it makes a big difference. But yeah, I find that very important for one particular reason. And that is my fearful swimmers, if they're cold, on top of being fearful,
interesting,
it kind
tightens them up, right?
Really does. And I'm really already fighting that their body tensing up because of their fear.
Makes sense.
So I want them to feel like they're almost in a spa-like environment.
Yeah.
And a lot of my adult swimmers really, really enjoy just the whole scenario.
Yeah, they're relaxing.
The comfort.
The water's immediately making them comfortable rather than you have to get used to it, tense up, and then the water feels normal. You know how that is. Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting thought. I would have never guessed that. Mm-hmm. So walk me through, you said curriculum. I'm sure it's different for every person.
Right.
And on the front end, I guess it changes also per age. So let's scenario, a 12-year-old doesn't know how to swim, enters your business and is looking for you for lessons. What's that first step look like? Do you assess where they're at?
I do.
How do you get to the point where you've built their curriculum?
So, first off, I don't really like to operate with levels like you might traditionally see in a gym scenario. I want to teach my children, my adults, as quickly as I can, because I also know that there's plenty of people trying to get into Tadpool Swim School. I also don't want to waste my family's money, so I want to move them along as quickly as I can, but also get them trained very properly. So they might have to stay with me more than one lesson block to do so. It just depends on the child and the situation.
Yeah.
It is not uncommon for a child to come in or even an adult to come in and learn to swim on their first lesson. And then just build on that to make them more and more proficient in the water. Mm-hmm. My curriculum is one that I've kind of created based on the Red Cross curriculum, but also because I'm a certified lifeguard, very aware of the new swimmers being in the water and getting tired and losing their ability to properly remember and do their swim skills. Mm-hmm. So my curriculum is pretty much steered towards that. I want to give my swimmers the tools to reserve or conserve, I should say, their energy in the water.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of little tricks for that. For example, instead of fighting our way down into the water, we bounce up and let our body weight take us down to the bottom. That way we aren't having to fight with our arms and using unnecessary energy. That's just one example.
Because it'll wear you out. You get tired, and then next thing you know, you can't keep yourself up.
Right.
Right.
So that's my approach to my curriculum. We have a lot of fun. I use a lot of toys and songs and games. I am very aware that kids will do more for toys than they might necessarily do for me. So I use that as one of my tricks up my sleeve.
Yeah, you got to bribe them in a way.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And they're very familiar with what kind of games and different things we do. So I frequently have my kids just come right in the door and be requesting to do certain things. And I use that. I use that to my advantage, and I use a lot of those games and stuff to further hone their skills.
Okay. Plus, kids like being rewarded.
Yes.
Right? They feel like they've won a prize.
Right.
Good job. Here's your treat, like
Yes.
for a dog, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I do have a treasure chest
So, yeah, there you
that
go.
I do enjoy shopping for, and they always get to get a sucker and a toy at the end of their
I take
lesson.
swimming for granted because I was very fortunate. At a young age, my mom put me in YMCA and did the whole polywog guppy,
Yes.
you know, the whole ladder up. Grew up with an above ground pool behind
Yes.
the house. So I was very lucky. I love swimming. I love water. But I take it for granted that there's so many people that don't know how to swim.
Yes.
And it's important to know how to swim because you never know what kind of situation you might be in.
Well,
right?
it's a survival skill,
right, yeah.
ultimately, and it is very important. And I, too, am surprised at how many adults that I come across that have never learned or had the luxury of learning how to swim in their past or have carried fear with them their whole lives.
Yeah.
So that is something I get very, very passionate about, and I actually think that's probably my strongest strength as an instructor is fear therapy, is what I call it.
Fear therapy, yeah. Because they're afraid to start swimming, but they're afraid to be put in a situation where they need to swim and can't.
Exactly.
And like you said, survival.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can imagine that's terrifying. They look at a lake as a death trap. I even hate the ocean. The ocean freaks me out. I can't imagine what it's like for someone that can't swim.
I put myself in that situation all the time, and it gives me such a rewarding feeling to help people pass that.
Yeah.
I just had a child recently that first day he came, he sat on the side of the pool and crossed his arms and said, "I'm not getting in." And, a little bit of work, Miss Ashley magic, and I got him in, and we had a great lesson. And by the end of it, he said, "I'm not scared anymore." And that was just on his first lesson.
Yeah.
And we do kind of tiptoe backwards every now and again. When I take him out to the deep end, he starts to shut down. But I continue to expose him to the deep end to help it make it easier on him once we get there.
Yeah.
I use, because of my own life experience, I've had to go through exposure therapy before in my life. There was a time where I went through a series of traumatic events in my 30s, and all of a sudden I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, and I found myself driving 20 minutes out of the way each way to work to avoid going over bridges.
Okay, yeah.
So I'd out of the blue.
And that had nothing to do with the water part. It was just bridges, period.
It was bridges, height.
Yeah.
And it just was such an intense fear that it really disrupted my life.
Yeah.
And so I had to go through that exposure therapy at that point. And that's experience is what I use now to help my families with fear therapy.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just exposing them a little bit at a time. I'm a natural cheerleader by heart. So, just encouragement, love, and just kind of holding their hand throughout it.
The fear of bridges, yeah, that gets complicated because, if you lived here and worked in West Memphis,
yeah,
there's only one way to get there.
Oh, yeah.
You got to take that bridge.
Yeah.
Either 40 or 55, whichever one, pick your poison.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would probably not be able to take a job over there.
Right.
That's totally affecting your life.
Yeah, and now I can drive over a bridge, no problem.
Okay, good.
And it's such a reward in my life. My late husband's family lives on an island in Jacksonville. So if I still had that problem,
you're not visiting the in-laws.
and they are such a beautiful, precious part of my life, it would just be tragic.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your history a little here. So obviously you know how to swim, right?
Like you, I had to learn how to swim very early on because my mother was pregnant with my brother when I was 1 year old. So her best friend would joke that I had to learn how to swim because we had a pool in our backyard and I would fall in, and my mother, being big and pregnant, would take so long to get over there and try to grab me out of that water.
So you're just figuring it out on the fly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like you, I don't remember not being able to swim.
Exactly. I really don't. I never had to wear a floaty.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I have no recollection of never not being able to swim.
Yep.
And I'm grateful for that.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
It's such a blessing. It really
so
is.
Did you swim in school? So let's
Yes.
run through your experience here and all the different things you've done. So when did you start swimming, whether in school or on team activities, or when did that start?
Well, my very first job, I got my WSI, which is my water safety instruction certification from Red Cross, and also my lifeguarding certification. So when I was 15, 16, I was already a swim instructor. Then I also swam for Lausanne swim team in high school.
Where's that?
Lausanne is it's a private school in Memphis.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you are from this area.
I am. Yeah. I am. I grew up in Germantown and went to Germantown Elementary and Middle, and then went over to Lausanne to finish out middle school and high school.
Were you swimming in any kind of kid groups or YMCA or just the pool at the house?
Just the pool at the house. Yeah. And we would practice for Lausanne at Memphis State. So that kind of dates me there. And I heard your person say that on the podcast yesterday. Yeah. But yes, back then it was called Memphis State, and we would utilize their pool. So I swam competitively for them then.
Okay.
Also, I was a live-in nanny for a family in Chicago for a summer when I was 16, and also taught their kids how to swim. So I kind of used it as a side little hustle when I was in high school, teach the neighborhood kids how to swim, just in my own, family's pool in our backyard.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. Just as a side hustle. I like that.
Just a little side hustle.
So what happened? How did you connect to Chicago? How does that happen?
A family that I worked for in Germantown moved to Chicago for the summer, or for a couple of years. So I lived with them for a summer.
Nice.
Then luckily they came back.
Did you enjoy that?
I did.
In Chicago?
I did. It was really fun, and they let me have a little job at the movie theater too. So I got to socialize and meet people there, and it was.
And you were 13, you said?
I was 16.
16. Did they let you? Yes. Did they let you venture off in the trains and subways and?
No.
Yeah.
I stayed pretty close to home, but we would go together at times. Yeah. So I did.
It's a beautiful city.
It is, and it was a really, really fun summer, and really gave me a lot of confidence moving forward to be able to have that experience at such a young age.
Meeting all kinds of different people. There's a different feel, especially when you look at North and South. It's just, I'm from Maine. Mm-hmm. I'm from New England, so you get the Northeast. It's just different.
Yeah.
People have different accents, different. It's just different. And not that it's better or worse. It's just different.
I love meeting people of different cultures and different walks of life. That's always very rewarding.
Yeah.
to me too.
So then, what do you do after high school?
So I went to college at Charleston, went to the honors program. I've done a lot of different things. I had my own walking tour company in Charleston called Walk With Me Tours, where I gave historical walking tours, and that was really fun. Gave me kind of my first little taste of having my own business. I've done lots. I've also ran my own daycare when my daughter was, before my daughter went to kindergarten, after my late husband passed from ALS. I definitely want to mention that. That was a very defining part of my life, and something that was also the best and hardest time of my life, was taking care of him and our baby. He was young. He was young. He was young, 9 years older than me. Yes, he passed at 47. Wow. Which is the age I am now. So, very reflective on that. But I tell you what, he loved the water. He was a competitive surfer. And so now for me to have my own indoor pool in my house, I kind of feel like he's pulling some strings up there. And
he's helping you out.
He's making these kind of really, really special things happen.
So the daycare starts because of your home taking care of him and
wanting to stay home with my daughter before she went to kindergarten. And that, I would never change a thing about that. And again, just more child care experience like I've had throughout my life. And this really, all those experiences have really aided me in giving me the tools to relate to with my kids.
Building you up without realizing it at the time.
Without realizing it. Yeah. It's really amazing how much of my life is full circle. For this to have been my first job ever, and then here I am again. It's amazing. It really is.
So how long has Tadpool Swim School been around?
Not very long. We came to town in November 2 years ago, and it took us a while. My boyfriend and I getting the pool ready for swim instruction. It had not been taken really good care of previously, so I needed to do a lot of work there. Converted it to salt water. I now have 2 pool heaters because one goes out. It takes a little bit of time.
We got to keep it at 91.
Get those warranty parts. Oh, and we got to keep it at 91.
Not 89. Forget about it.
No,
that's unacceptable.
And so yes, so it took some while to get that together, and I have, a little walkway to where people can enter, the pool room from the outside and different things like that. Yeah. So we got established in a year and a half ago in June of 23.
And before we started, you were telling me your schedule coming up, and you're booked up, aren't you?
I stay booked.
Yeah, that's great.
It is. It's a blessing. Yeah. I wish there was more of me, another one of me. And,
so you could grow and scale up. Yeah.
Well, I just, my heart goes out to all these swim families that have been trying so hard to get in. But my policy is to cater to my current families.
Sure, yeah.
So, I've easily had, more than 100 people come through my doors and be taught to swim in the past year and a half. And I never want to leave them high and dry. So a lot of my families have younger children. They might have watched their kids learn, and they say, hey, I'm ready to learn now too, Miss Ashley. So I get a lot of parents that end up saying, this is something I've never learned to do, and I'm ready now. Yeah. So my policy is really to cater to the needs of my families, and when I can, let new families come in.
So how did you build that clientele so quickly? How were you marketing? Or was it just word of mouth, Facebook?
Word of mouth, primarily, yes. I can't really explain it. I think that we really needed me in this community.
Sure, yeah.
Just simply for the just alone being able to do this year round. That's
key, isn't it?
Yes. And really your other options are maybe to go to a gym and have group lessons where you might not move along as quickly. It might take your child a couple of summers to get fully trained. And my approach being, let's get it done. Let's do it. Let's move along as quickly as we can.
Which is easier when it's one-on-one.
Much easier. Yeah. And that's kind of why I've also chosen not to do group lessons. I try not to be motivated by finances and how much money I can make, because obviously if I did group lessons and just had a bunch of kids in there, I would make a lot more money.
That would be the logical step, right?
Right.
And then get a second swim instructor, and you can scale up that way. But yeah, it's tough because we all need to make a living, and you want to prosper. But pardon the pun, it could get watered down. You catch that? You like that? You like that?
I like it. I like it.
But yeah, so now the kids are with someone else. Well, do you trust that person? You might, but it's not the same, and parents are expecting you, and now they get another person. I can see how that gets complicated.
It does. Yeah. It does get complicated. I just, opened up sign-ups yesterday afternoon for February, March, and I'm pretty much booked. I just got to hear back from a couple of my swim families. And so it kind of hurts my heart every time this happens. Every time I have a sign-up and I can't get more families in. I wish I had a solution for that. Hernando kind of restricts me in that sense. They want anybody that's running a home business to be living in that home. So unless I teach my 11-year-old daughter how to give swim lessons, I'm kind of stuck there, which hopefully at some point I will. But she's not quite yet.
She's the one that you can train. Right?
Yes. But she has other ideas about that. But she
wants a second pool, right? Is that what that is?
Yeah. So, but those. So I'm limited in basically how many new families I can bring in.
So what is your limit? What's your cap?
I don't really have one. I do it based on what availability I can give. I'm 47, so my body can only handle so much. Typically, that looks like about 9 lessons a day during my busy season.
So you're looking at 5 hours in the water.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You must be waterlogged.
I'm exhausted all the time, but it's a good exhaustion.
Yeah.
My job is so rewarding that gives me a lot of energy to keep going. I also choose to swim next to my kids.
Yeah.
So
you're getting exercise all day.
I'm getting exercise and swim next to my adults. I feel like we're in this together. And
wow, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
The fact that you're in the water all day, swimming along with them all day. Yeah. You're swimming constantly.
Yes.
It didn't even dawn on me that you're. It's not just 30 minutes for you.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I could stand at the side. I could sit on the side and just bark orders, but that's just not me.
And so 9 lessons in one day. How many days a week?
That's going to be 4 days out of the week. And Fridays I use for makeup lessons and then continuing education for my families that I can just pop in.
So I'm doing quick math. You're looking at 25 to 30 hours a week in the pool?
Yes. And actually last spring and summer, I kind of pushed that a little bit and did 11 lessons a day. And not sure that I want to do that again.
I mean, you must be pruned.
I am. Raw. I am.
Well, that's awesome, though. That's really cool.
It's really, really, it's my favorite job. I've had a lot of enjoyable jobs, but this is by far my favorite. And I feel like I was born to do this job. I could say, oh, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I had done this, since my 20s full time.
But you didn't get your experiences yet.
No. And I was not the person that I am today. So all of life had to happen for me to bring me to this perfect spot.
Well, this has been great. Before we wrap up, now let's look into the future, shall we?
Okay.
Let's get in the time machine and move forward. So where do you see yourself going in the future?
I just see Tadpool Swim School continuing to blossom and continuing to add new families as I can. One idea that I've been recently thinking about, and pretty sure I'm going to move forward on it soon, I'm starting to get the lighting and the cameras and all that for it, but is to start my own YouTube channel.
There you go.
I feel like this would be such a service to my swimmers. I have a lot of toddlers and children like that come through my doors that are scared. And I think it would be really, really beneficial if they could just sit there and on their tablet, on the TV, just kind of lay there and watch kids swim under the water.
Not to sterilize it, but it's a tutorial, right? So they get to see the instructor that they have not met yet, that they don't know, because that's another level of, I'm sure, anxiety, because this big scary adult is talking to me. So they get to meet you, too, on the front end and see how it all works. And that would be a great asset and tool.
I'm a big kid, so they'll get to kind of see that at the age where I can be silly and goofy and not be embarrassed by it. And it's just part of me. So I think that they could go ahead and see that energy out of me, kind of be familiar. Also, I play a lot of games and different fun things. So I just think that I have plenty of things to share with other people, and not just this community, but the rest of the YouTube viewers.
Yeah, and I know someone that can help you with that channel, by the way.
Oh, good. Is that you?
That's me.
I was hoping we would talk about that today.
So it's Tadpool Swim School.
Yes.
.com. Ashley at tadpoolswimschool.com.
Yes.
And then, is it okay to give this number out?
Yes, that's my business line.
662-806-3040. So this is awesome.
Yes.
This is the only game in the town.
Yes.
I mean, when you book up that quickly like that, clearly there's a need. And you are supplying the solution to that need.
Yes, and on tadpoolswimschool.com, you can see pictures of the pool and the space, and it really is quite extraordinary. I still pinch myself.
Very cool. Well, good for you. That's awesome. It's such a unique thing. Especially, my mind is blown that you have a job where you get to swim 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
That's wild to me.
It is. It is.
I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, it's just amazing, and I could not feel more blessed. And Thanksgiving is tomorrow. I know this will air later, but I do want to say, a special thank you to all my swim families that have already come through my door. Hernando is such a special community, and I just feel so blessed to be a part of it.
Very good. Well, happy to have you here. I'm glad to meet you too.
I'm glad to meet you.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this, Ashley. And to the listeners and viewers, thanks for hanging out. If you made it this far, we need to get a prize from, what do you call the box?
The treasure chest.
So we got to get a prize from the treasure chest for you for hanging out to the end.
A toy and a sucker.
Oh, you get two. TheRealHernando.com is where you need to go. We are on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. All the links are at the website. Thank you to Wesley Meadows Retirement Community for being our title, and all the other beautiful sponsors that help fuel this. Go to the website, click on the sponsor tab. All our sponsors are on that page with their logos. They're all clickable, and will take you to their website. Please patronize them. And that's it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.